Features of negative and positive ways of development.
Said by the teacher caused dual feelings in me. On the one hand, God allows people to choose a negative way. On the other hand, such way causes many sufferings to people and can lead to very sad consequences.
Don't I know it? You see, the matter is in the following. A certain balance has to be between the positive and negative. In our world, this balance is observed rigidly. The positive has to prevail over the negative. But in the terrestrial world, this balance is absent. From our point of view, the terrestrial world is very low.
What does it mean, low?
It is more correct to say that the terrestrial world is of a low level of development.
Do you mean everything in the terrestrial world? Even academicians, professors, and child prodigies? I thought that it doesn't concern to them.
You think in vain. That soul of the academician or the professor are of surely high level of development. Actually, among these people, there are a lot of conservative persons. Their knowledge is unilateral. Once having achieved their status, they stop their development. Professors or child prodigies isn't the point, but the souls which rather recently have begun their way of development are sent to the bodies of people on earth. The terrestrial world is like elementary school for the souls. You people are still first graders for us, even those who has the higher education.
But first graders, after all, also grow, study something, become wiser.
And have you already forgotten about reincarnation?
How does reincarnation come into the picture?
With the assumption that the souls save up their experience from life to life. I will remind you once again that if it isn't enough experience, it means a small number of reincarnations of the soul in a body of the person. And because of a lack of this experience, any different nonsenses and negative acts also are made.
You have confused me something. Why do then people make nonsenses if they have already had a wide experience of embodiments?
Because God provided a freedom of choice to the souls, and either on ignorance or by the youth of the soul, a person chooses a negative way of development.
Do you want to tell that even rather mature soul behaves bad because knows a little?
This is what I have meant, but as you know, ignorance of the law is no excuse, and negative acts made by the person on ignorance, as a result, can lead him to the devil.
It is necessary to admit that I was simply shocked with such revelation of the teacher. The teacher repeated to me that at them everything is arranged not absolutely as it is represented by people. I have already managed to believe it, but unexpectedly the teacher speaks about the devil. So that means the devil exists too. Isn't it a tale?
Yes, it exists. He is the most important chief and the commander over negative.
But why does God allow a negative devil to exist?
Because the inner world is arranged so. There are certain laws which allow an inner world to exist in harmony. The existence of two contrasts, negative and positive, allows to all the universe to develop harmoniously.
And I thought that the evil can't be in space.
The evil in that look as used on Earth doesn't exist in space. The terrestrial world is the world of a low level of development. Therefore, people attribute all low to our worlds too. But it is absolutely wrong. We have absolutely other relations between positive and negative, not such as on Earth. We are in the different worlds in general. We work in our worlds. At us there is a lot of work, therefore we need the sensible souls. Each world fights for the souls. Each world tries to carry over as much souls as possible. Earth is a special world. Here positive teachers work, Here negative teachers work. Everyone works with its own methods. While the person has a freedom of choice, he makes a choice between positive or negative, freely or involuntarily.
And then for what is something negative required in the universe?
So are universe laws. In the universe, everything is transformed and reconstructed constantly, and different experts are necessary for this purpose. There are experts who build and create the new worlds, and there are experts who destroy and dismantle all outdated and unnecessary.
But if you need to destroy anything,
Certainly, we need, and not only to destroy, but also to build the new. After all, we also improve the souls constantly. The universe develops constantly, and it has nothing invariable. But at our place, everything that is collapsed has to be sorted accurately and let in processing. We have no waste of production. For this purpose, it is also necessary to be able to do a lot of things and to know much. I can give such a figurative comparison. In your houses you have a canalization, but the canalization exists not in itself, it needs to be served constantly. For this purpose there are plumbers, experts who keep the canalization in good repair, and in case of accident, they have to eliminate its consequences. Such work is not so pleasant, but necessary. Certainly, you have to understand that it is a figurative example, but in our world there is a similar work too. And such work also is done by those who passes under the management of the devil.
you have described to me what the subordinates of the devil do, that it is possible to think that it's impossible to stand without him.
It's so. On earth, he provokes people to different bad acts. In our world, he is engaged in other activity.
Does it mean both positive and negative is mixed everywhere?
It's not absolutely so. The positive and negative worlds don't mix up with each other. Each world takes its own place, though they can really be nearby. Everyone has its own world. Positive persons are in their own world. Negative persons are in their own world. It is on earth that everything is mixed. On earth, there are souls positive and negative. There are souls which have for a long time been in school of terrestrial life. And there are those who has come here recently. On earth, all souls are gathered together. We have all differently.
If at your place they all are in different worlds, how do you cooperate if it is necessary to repair a canalization?
We can interact with each other if required. We have our own system of communications.
But are there any negative teachers who teach their wards bad things?
So are universe laws. In the universe, everything is transformed and reconstructed constantly, and different experts are necessary for this purpose. There are experts who build and create the new worlds, and there are experts who destroy and dismantle all outdated and unnecessary.
But why?
Because the positive personality has a freedom of choice. God allows each person to make a conscious choice between positive and negative, but God isn't able to afford that the evil prevailed over the good. So if the soul chose an evil way voluntarily, it gets to slavery to the devil.
And how long will this slavery last?
Eternally. The soul can't return back anymore.
Never.
Never. The devil doesn't return any soul. But you cannot be afraid at this point. After all, you have learned a lot of things, and if you tell other people, they will know about it.
Thanks for hope. Really, if God just gives the soul to the devil, after all you've told that God created the souls for himself, what souls get to the devil in this case, and how many?
It's a good question. God gives to the devil as many souls as he will see fit. Nobody will give the excess souls to the negative, because then at the devil there will gather more souls than at God, and God won't allow it.
And what will be in this case if the devil has more souls than God?
It is well known to people. When negative persons are in power, they start provoking neighboring countries, wars, bloodshed. Sufferings of a great number of people begin. If negative persons become too many, then our court can make a decision to decode such souls.
Is it better to God to decode the souls than to give them to the devil?
You are right. Would you give the gun to the person if you knew that he would shoot you?
I'm not a fool.
So who is God in your opinion? God is able to count too. He also knows what consequences will be in case of prevalence negative over positive. So only the certain quantity of the souls is transferred to the devil.
And does the devil submit to God too?
Certainly. We all are submitted to God. All of us realize the divine plans. Everyone uses its own methods.
Does it mean a negative way is bad for the soul?
How did you guess?
So did I. And unless I am wrong,
everyone decides himself what is good for him and what is bad.
But if the person chooses it, then is it pleasant to him?
At first sight, the negative way can be attractive to the person. For example, the person fobs a lot of money, then starts spending them on drink, spends time in pleasure institutions. Such life is pleasant to him. Many also have done it for all their life, and still say that they live happily. I hope that you understand that it is impossible to receive always only pleasures.
I understand.
And what else do you understand? It is necessary. And in what way?
Such person doesn't know that he can ruin his soul by his behavior. And if his soul is transferred to the negative teachers, such his carefree life can end quickly. In the following life he will be made the other program and will be sent, for example, to war. So he won't idle in the bar anymore, but will swallow trench dust, freeze in freezing temperatures, or suffer from the heat. It will be watered by rains, and every day it will be fired from guns and mortars. And if it is necessary, he will be thrown under the tank.
It is necessary. And in what way?
But after all, can the positive persons also appear in the war?
They can. War is always a consequence of the wrong choice made by mankind. Therefore, the positive persons can be involved in war besides their war. But the positive personality can show its qualities even in the war. One can throw the companion in fight, and another can risk his life for the sake of the rescue of his companion. Do you feel the difference?
I do. The only thing, what is the advantage if the positive person is lost?
Don't forget that the soul is immortal, if, of course, it doesn't degrade. If the person was lost or died early, that doesn't mean that he disappeared as the personality, or was bad. It means that he deserved such destiny. For positive persons, nobody canceled a karma.
And what about the negative?
They have no karma. They submit implicitly to their teacher as Vairabhats. But among such souls, also there are more capable and less capable. So they also bear the responsibility before the teacher.
Does it mean there are only two ways for the soul, positive and negative?
You've forgotten that the soul can be still decoded. Besides, there is still a neutral way. But it's absolutely other story.
Neutral way.
As you already know, after death of the person, his life is estimated by the highest. No matter, positive it is soul or negative, the soul has to in past life everything well to acquire. One soul will estimate for one qualities, other soul for other qualities. But there is in our world one more activity. whose souls estimate a little differently than all the others.
And it that for the chosen.
On earth, it is souls of doctors and rescuers. Therefore, such souls first of all are estimated for their professional qualities. Rescuer has to rescue people. He has to go to fire and water. People suppose it is a very responsible and important job. Doctor has to treat people. It's also important and difficult kind of activity. The souls of such experts pass a neutral way.
Does it mean such souls are neither positive and nor negative?
Your conclusion is wrong. The matter is that the soul is arranged so that there is always a positive part, there is a negative part, and there is still a neutral part in it. All three parts are equal in the just created soul, but gradually everything changes in the soul. The neutral part occupies one half of the soul, but positive and negative part divide the second half among themselves. But a balance between positive and negative in soul doesn't happen practically. Something always prevails in the soul. Such device of the soul allows it to develop and be improved eternally.
But if in soul positive or negative prevails, how does the soul become neutral?
It is more correct to say so. There are certain kinds of activity which demand special qualities of the souls. The souls which are engaged in such activity are considered as the neutral.
I've got confused absolutely.
There's nothing difficult in it. Let's review an example with the doctor. The doctor goes to work to hospital every day. At work he has some patients. Let's say that doctor is a professional of his job. He can make an exact diagnosis at first sight, without an X-ray and without any devices. He can prescribe to the patient the correct and effective treatment. He can put the half-dead person on his legs. How do you think, if this doctor is good?
Certainly, he is.
Now let's continue arguing. This doctor likes to take money from the patients for his services, besides that money that are paid into the hospital cash desk. After work, this doctor likes to drink and go for a walk. He doesn't help his wife and doesn't take part in bringing up his children at home. He shoulder all the household duties to his family. In communication with his relatives he is rough. So, how do you think, if this doctor is bad or not?
Well, I don't know what to say at all. As a specialist, he can be quite good, but as the person, not very.
You're right. The person, after all, is not only a doctor, or a rescuer, or a fireman. After all, he is also a person. Except professional qualities, he has also other qualities of the soul which are shown in an everyday life. Each act of the person is surely considered. For example, the person respects and appreciates his parents. He always helps them, treats them with love and respect. Imagine that each his noble action in relation to his parents, or not so noble, is registered on a separate sheet. They wrote on a sheet the attitude towards parents and began to put a pile of his acts on this sheet. Today, he has gone to the shop and bought bread to his old parents. Tomorrow he will have gone to a chemist's shop and bought them some medicine. So we write it down. This way the pile of leaves grows and increases gradually. Except parents, such person also has a wife. Here, the other pile of notes grows. If he has children, that means there will be the third pile of notes on which all his acts in relation to children will be written down. And after all except children there are relatives, simply acquaintances and strangers at the person. Do you imagine what library the soul with itself in an inner world? Do you imagine how difficult it is to read, sort, and estimate all notes of the person?
It is simply a titanic work.
Exactly. We are also engaged in it. We estimate each soul. Hear you, people, how do you estimate your experts?
We do it on their professional qualities. We appreciate competent, sensible, and hardworking experts.
Correctly. Such expert is priceless. Any employer wants to get such experts hook into. Everyone will persuade such expert to work only for him. One will offer him a high salary. Another will promise him to help with housing. The third will promise him rest in sanatorium.
And is it the same way in your world?
Approximately, it's so at us too. Negative teachers say, "Give this soul to us. It sinned a lot in this life." Positive teachers say, "No, this soul belongs to us. It did a lot of good acts, and this soul can be still corrected." And the third teachers say, "Better give this soul to us. Look, this is a very good doctor. He can bring a lot of benefit to us in the future." And then, when the soul has already been transferred to the teacher, each teacher cultivates in the soul those qualities which are necessary to it. The negative teacher will force it to do what is necessary for him. The positive teacher will bring up the soul absolutely differently. Well, and the soul of a doctor will already have been brought up in those qualities which are necessary to its teacher. Such soul will be estimated first of all on its professional qualities.
It is interesting to know if the desire of the soul is taken into account.
Yes, it is. For example, the soul doesn't want to get to the negative teachers. It can ask us about it. We can meet the needs of such soul, but in order the soul didn't deviate a positive way, we can install such soul into body of the disabled person, for example. Such person won't be able to go to restaurants anymore and to spend all his money on drink there because he can't move. So the disabled person will have little money as well.
But after all, can such person lose himself into drinking too?
Yes, he can. But usually such people feel well what way was chosen by their soul.
And can the soul ask to go to the negative teachers?
Yes, it can too.
But why?
Because people with such soul can get by trickery a lot of money and live in luxury. Such life is pleasant to many people. Yes, such soul has to submit to its teacher implicitly and has no freedom of choice. But even such way suits the soul. It is possible to give the other example. Imagine, for example, the soldier. He soldiers and executes the orders of his commanders. Though the military service is difficult, the soldier is always fed, booted, and dressed. He doesn't need to think where to spend the night. For this purpose he has his own bed in barracks. Certainly, if war begins, the life of the soldier will change sharply, but war cannot begin after all. If to return to the soul again, it can like a negative way of life. So the desires of the soul are considered, but not always executed. We know better what will benefit the soul and us.
How is it possible to understand on earth who is positive, who is negative, who is neutral?
The soul of the person can be estimated by us only, but if you want, I will tell you about it in more details.
Certainly, I want.
Then see you later. It has already been late, you need a rest, and I am waited by another matters.
Nuances of positive, negative, and neutral development.
Next day we continued the begun conversation. The teacher began the conversation with such joke.
One rich person took his son to the zoo, and then came to the director. "How much does your zoo cost? I would buy it for my son. I have a better idea. How much does your son cost? I would buy it for my zoo."
Such beginning of the conversation puzzled me a little. What does it mean? The teacher explained.
Let's consider a case when the soul was just embodied in the terrestrial world. Let's say such soul was an animal in antecedents, for example, a monkey. The person with such soul will have habits of a monkey, it will wriggle like a monkey. I've told you this joke not casually. Though the boy is externally similar to the person, but if to place him to the zoo near monkeys, he will behave as monkeys. Such soul has just begun its way in the company of people, and it has much to learn before it will develop a human style of behavior.
And who can possess such soul, the positive or the negative?
Such soul hasn't belonged yet neither to the positive, nor to the negative, or the neutral. It is more correct to say that in the beginning, all souls belong to God. God creates souls for himself. Therefore, all young souls are transferred for education to the positive teachers. Qualities of the soul are formed slowly. Some lives are necessary to create a personality from the soul. On earth, there are always young souls. People with such soul live near you. They walk the same streets. They go to kindergarten, to school, for work. They can be met in a shop or in a cafe. They will be distinguished from people around with their behavior. If the soul was a pig in antecedents, so even in a body of the person, it will behave as a pig. Such person doesn't know norms of morals. He can throw garbage under feet, without knowing at all that it's not cultural. Study will be given difficult to the person with such soul. To bring up such person is not a simple task. Such person imitates other people. But near such person, there are both positive persons and negative. The person starts imitating the one who is nearby him. Often there are negative persons nearby, and the person follows their example. It's not simple to the teacher to work with such pupil because the person doesn't want to make any efforts for improvement of his soul. For this purpose, it is necessary to work, and the animal didn't get used to work. Therefore, not so difficult life program is formed for such soul. The soul which has just come from fauna in the world of people, first of all, has to acquire the standards of behavior accepted among people. Parents and tutors have to understand that it is impossible to demand too much from such soul. It is necessary to bring up such person correctly.
And how should one bring up the child with such soul correctly?
He needs to be repeated the same things a lot of times. At school, the pupil needs to be given simple tasks, but be demanded that he carried out a task accurately. If it is difficult to the pupil to do it at once, it'll be better for him to write one exercise, as he can several times. Such children should be encouraged. The child has to feel that if he tries, he will be surely praised. When the person will grow, it'll be necessary for him to look for the simple work. Let him even work as the yard keeper. It will bring to his sole benefit if the person tries. Now you can relate about the person who has already lived some lives on the earth. There is one more feature of people with young souls. They are very talkative.
And why are they talkative?
In fauna, they didn't talk, and having become people, they have to master human speech. Therefore, to such people a special program on garrulity is made. Such people will be sociable, but if to listen to their conversations attentively, it is possible to notice that their chatter is empty. They communicate generally on household subjects.
And if it is bad to talk on household subjects,
why have you decided that it is bad? For people with such soul, it's not bad, but it is useful for such people to study any creativity, singing, dances. It must be kept in mind also that a karma have already appeared at such people. The school, art, television have to teach high norms of morals. It is very important to warn such souls against the development in negative qualities.
What is possible to say about the developed souls?
It's easy to distinguish people with such soul. These are often talented and even ingenious people. They are considerably distinguished from people around. There isn't much of them. It must be kept in mind also that a lot of things are forgiven to people with low level of development. The performance of high norms of morals isn't required from them. But from those who reach the high level, the demand is much more strict. Now can you tell me how to distinguish the person with the soul of a very high level of development? Let's say the soul of such person reached the 99th level.
Well, they are super geniuses, undoubtedly.
That's absolutely not necessary.
But why?
The matter is that such people practically have already passed life school. They need to finish any quality in their life. Therefore, in an everyday life, there can be generic people conducting a quiet and imperceptible way of life. They will treat life philosophically and judiciously. Their emotions will be equal, and there will be that wisdom in their behavior, which was gained by their soul on earth. Their soul prepares for transition to the world spiritual, and such soul won't return to earth.
It's an unexpected characteristic. Well, and how is it possible to distinguish a negative soul?
It's not easy to do it. Behavior of some people is very low. At first sight, it is possible to draw a conclusion that it is the negative personality. But actually, it can be simply a young soul. Negative persons have no such quality as love. But also it's not easy to understand sometimes, because such people are able to mask well under the positive persons. It is necessary to consider one more nuance. While the person with positive soul won't pass the experience of terrestrial life completely, and these are 100 levels, he can be transferred to the negative as well.
But why?
Because such person has a freedom of choice. While the soul isn't transferred to the negative teachers, it can lose a positive way.
But what can bring down such soul from this way?
For example, money. Money corrupts positive soul quickly. The person, being the student, will give the last cent, but having become rich, he becomes greedy. Thirst of money does of the positive personality the negative personality quickly. By the way, the negative personality can steal 1 million, and it will get nothing in return. But if the positive personality once steal a loaf of bread, it'll go to prison. Such situation confuses many people. People see that it is possible to steal with impunity and live in luxury. Actually, for positive persons, theft is a sin.
But why does it occur so unfairly?
It occurs because the positive personality still can be re-educated, and the negative personality can't be re-educated.
But after all, such persons deliver many troubles to other people. What's possible to do with them?
It is impossible to re-educate such personality, but it is possible to limit its freedom of action. If such person commits crimes, that means it is necessary to expose it and limit its freedom. For this purpose, there are laws, courts, prisons. Unfortunately, now the mankind deviated strongly a positive way. Norms of life are established not by the positive, but by the negative. Therefore, negative persons remain unpunished. The teachers of mankind see it and do everything possible to change the consciousness of people. You know that natural cataclysms and accidents have become frequent recently. All this is a consequence of the wrong choice of people, their deviation from a positive way.
What else can direct the soul to a negative way?
Any degradation can. The one who starts drinking degrades quickly. Merits can be acquired for some lives, and it is possible to lose them for one life. Drugs in general decompose the soul instantly. Sometimes people say a femme fatale. Usually such characteristic belongs to a beautiful, seductive woman. They can turn a man's head easily. They aren't saddled with moral principles, and are ready to agree on the sexual relations. Many married men consider such relations quite normal, but we regard such behavior absolutely differently. We consider it is immoral for the positive personality. Therefore, many positive persons can become negative imperceptibly for themselves.
As everything is difficult in life, does it mean it's better to try to avoid negative persons?
In your life, it is impossible. Negative and positive are mixed. Even in one family, the husband and the wife or children can belong to different teachers. The positive personality has to be able to distinguish and protect itself from the negative influence, and to be able to resist to the negative personality. If at work it got a negative subordinate, he also needs to be supervised, and not to be given will constantly. Though such persons can't be re-educated, they can be forced to submit to the established rules.
And what if the person has a negative chief?
In this case, he won't be envied. It will be necessary either to change his work, though there is no guarantee that on a new place there will be a positive chief, or to adapt.
And how is it possible to adapt to the negative chief in order not to earn a karma, or not to get to the negative?
That's a good question. If such chief suddenly gets to you, it is necessary to try to perform your work well, that there would be nothing to abuse you for. And also it's important not to get involved in any intrigues, because such chief will like them very much. He will try to provoke his subordinates, but you have already known enough not to get to any negative situations.
Thanks for your advice. Better it wouldn't be useful. Now let's consider the neutral.
To such it is safely possible to carry doctors. Certainly, it concerns to highly skilled doctors. Rescuers can be carried to neutral too.
The teacher kept silent a little and added,
And the last that it is necessary to know. Raise your level, improve your soul, and then you will understand what you don't understand now. Be healthy and don't cough.
From such unexpected ending of our conversation, I had even choked and had a fit of coughing. I had a ridiculous and funny look. It was good that nobody saw me, though now I am not confident in it.
Sufferings.
Strokes of bad luck in a forehead mean that its kicks to the back didn't take any effect. Folk wisdom. In the beginning of my acquaintance to the teacher, I often thought of why people suffer very much. Often people get heartrending experiences. Two world wars carried away million lives and brought a grief to many people. Even in a peacetime, many people suffer from hunger and thirst. Diseases are the satellites of mankind. Such order of things proceeds thousands years. Some time ago, the epidemic of infectious diseases were worse than a war. Though modern medicine could win against some especially dangerous infections, but other diseases succeeded them. That's why neither the teachers of mankind nor God could do nothing to change such order of things. Once I had a conversation with the teacher on this subject. That time the teacher had chosen a little unexpected style of conversation.
Initially, God made life of people simply paradise. Flowers smell, a sparrow chirp, dragonflies fly. Beauty. The sun shines and tenderly warms earth. God created people and lodged them in a paradise garden. Products are all fresh and organic. There are neither pesticides nor nitrates there. The weather is as on Canary Islands. Day and night are warm. There are neither hurricanes nor cataclysms. Angels wave themselves their wings over people that it will be pleasant to them. They sing angelic songs. What is necessary for entire happiness? You ate, then you naped. You naped, then you ate again. It isn't necessary to go anywhere. Here you've got both peaches and apricots, both grapes and cherries and black cherries. If you want, go to the lake, catch some fish. If you don't want to catch fish, go and have a swim. God allowed to people everything. Do what you want. If you want, eat jam. If you don't want to eat, spread it on a table. What is necessary for entire happiness? What else wasn't enough to people? There was only one ban, not to eat the apples from a good and evil tree. go barefoot on sand, sunbathe, enjoy paradise life. No, people were pulled into the garden to look at the apple tree. What did incur them there? It was told, don't eat apples. And what? Any dragon, a creeping reptile, had Eve on. A likely story that the dragon started talking in a human voice. Snakes are able only to hiss. Eva just was eager to eat something vinegar, that's all. Also, she tempted Adam with this sour stuff. Well, we teach you all the time. It is necessary to listen to seniors. They told you that apples weren't ripened still. No, they even didn't listen to God. So they lost paradise.
It's now that I know this Bible story. But at that time I didn't know it and was surprised very much that people were expelled from paradise only because they ate the apple without permission. Unexpectedly, the teacher burst out laughing and continued.
Listen, really, if you have no sense of humor, absolutely. I joked.
And how was it actually? I asked with amazement.
To understand what has happened actually, it is necessary to know how the person was created. It is a long story, and maybe one day I will have tell you this story. If to say shortly, the first people appeared not from a monkey, but they were created by space reason on other planet and delivered to Earth. Though, frankly speaking, sometimes we look at you, people, and think that somewhere there was a mistake, and people occurred from a donkey. They are the same, confused and stubborn. In principle, everything is written in Bibles truly. Then on earth has already been a life. There was a plant and animal life, all was in harmony. But earth constantly changes, and once on it there appeared a new form of life, people. The only thing is that everything appeared not by itself on earth, but according to a plan of God.
And was paradise in reality, or these are just tales?
In the beginning, the first people really lived as in paradise. In that place where they lodged, there was a good climate, there was enough food. For people then there were favorable living conditions. But then, unexpectedly, it became clear that the person in such conditions stops to develop, but only idles.
But why?
The matter is that the soul lives in an inner world. This world is habitual and clear to the soul. Therefore, in an inner world, the soul's progress as a rule quicker than in the terrestrial or material world. I will give you such an example. Look, you live in your world, you work, you have a rest, you watch TV, you read books. Your world is habitual for you. And now present that you were dressed in a space suit and lowered underwater. You need to work there, but for you it's not only difficult to work, it's difficult to breathe. Your movements are held down by a space suit. It is visible bad what is under the water. Approximately the same happens to the soul. The soul appears in the unusual world in a human body. The body holds the soul down. The first years of life, the soul only learns to adapt to the body in general. It is possible to say that the soul learns to operate a body as a driver learns to operate a car. But the body of the person is much more difficult than the car. It can be compared perhaps to a plane.
Why then did the soul install in a body of the person?
That was a plan of God. People call God the Creator. To create is to create something new, what has never been before. Once, some souls with certain qualities were necessary for God. Then a grandiose experiment on creation of the person was made. You live in the terrestrial world, and you consider self-evident that you have the blue sky over your head. Actually, it isn't so simple to receive such color too. It was necessary to pick up certain gases for Earth atmosphere in certain proportions for this purpose. This air the person had to breathe, therefore it was necessary to invent lungs. Thousands and thousands inventions were required for the species creation under the name of person. At creation of the person, there were many problems. One of such problems is the thinking of the person. For thinking, it was necessary to invent the biological computer, a brain. It in an inner world, the soul thinks by its essence, and on earth a person thinks with the help of his brain. The brain of the first person was primitive. The first person turned out a little stupid. It was rather similar to an animal than to the real person. The first people appeared in favorable conditions and simply began to enjoy life. They didn't need to make any efforts for this purpose. They took everything ready for their life from nature. The soul of the person progressed very slowly, or didn't progress at all. When we, the teachers, saw these problems, we began to think what is possible to do in the created situation. We worked over the improvement of thinking of the person constantly, and created the corresponding conditions for people. About it, it is written in Bibles that the person was expelled from paradise. Actually, the living conditions of people were changed simply.
So there wasn't neither a dragon nor an apple.
The climate changed and people were compelled to think how to protect themselves from cold, from rain, from wind. So people began to be engaged in hunting and agriculture. People began to work to survive. By the way, do you think people learned to use fire themselves? They were taught to do it by us. So there are no paradise apples. Everything is much simpler. People didn't progress, thereby having broken the plans of God, so it led them to paradise loss. A karma law, however.
Wait, I objected. But why did the person turn out so rejected? They are you who created us in this way.
Well, why do you name them rejected? On the earth there were civilizations of which we are proud.
I haven't understood about what civilizations do you speak.
My God, give me forces to become wiser into this confused. I wish you went to the library, read some books, or at least look for information on the previous civilizations in the internet. Your civilization on Earth has already been the fifth, though to whom I tell it, you have just internet in your internet. The only thing that you can is to stare at beauties.
I have to admit that I was struck with shame before the teacher. Let bygones be bygones. Therefore I kept silent reasonably. The teacher continued.
Do you think it is easy to create a person? We aren't wizards, and everything what you see is created by titanic work of the highest. Have a try to create at least an ant yourself, and I will look your result. When we created the person, we had planned to receive the other result.
And why didn't the person justify your hopes?
Then listen, we send the soul on earth, but it starts degrading instead of its development. Life is lived for nothing. What shall we do? We make more difficult destiny for the following life of the person. The person does a heap of nonsenses in its following life as well, thus earns to itself even more difficult destiny. By the way, there was a time when people lived almost 1,000 years. But for 1,000 years, they managed to do so many nonsenses that then it'll be impossible to correct them, even for 10 lives.
No, I don't.
Then listen, we send the soul on earth, but it starts degrading instead of its development. Life is lived for nothing. What shall we do? We make more difficult destiny for the following life of the person. The person does a heap of nonsenses in its following life as well, thus earns to itself even more difficult destiny. By the way, there was a time when people lived almost 1,000 years. But for 1,000 years, they managed to do so many nonsenses that then it'll be impossible to correct them, even for 10 lives. Therefore, we made the life of people short. Certainly, many of them managed to cause a stir, even for such short term. And now you have what you have. Life of many people became difficult. It is full of tests, sufferings. To many people, troubles simply pour in abundance. Sufferings clean the soul. If the person got a difficult destiny, that means he has to know that God didn't forget about his soul, and gives him a chance to become better, to rise above. However, people still didn't understand it and continue to degrade and destroy their souls.